Tell 'em run it on.
What is going on? What is going on? Everybody in the house, what is going on? Wake up in Cleveland every single morning.
I wake up,
Flex.
thumb down now.
Check.
No drip, this.
Wet.
Tell 'em run it on. No sleep, no
Rest.
Might crash, might
Wreck.
but first I
Stretch.
Tell 'em run it on. I wake up,
Flex.
thumb down now.
Check.
No drip, this.
Wet.
Tell 'em run it on. I wake up,
Flex.
thumb down now.
Check.
No drip, this.
Wet.
Tell 'em run it on.
Good morning. Good morning. Very good morning. It's morning for me. Hold on. Let me get this thing the way I wanted to. It is morning for me because, well, I have been up late. As you guys know, I shot a video yesterday about the whole Serato and in music issue, Alpha Theta, Serato, whatever you want to call it. So I'm exhausted. I am actually just physically exhausted at this moment. But I do thank everybody for coming on. We will stay on for as long as I possibly can because normally it wouldn't be a big deal. Normally I would just I don't know, even afterwards go eat and maybe take a nap or something. But today is the day where everybody wants to have meetings with me. So after this call, I am stuck on calls from, I think 1 o'clock all the way till 6. And that's not just 6 meeting. That's like 15-minute meeting, 30-minute meeting, 15-minute meeting, 15-minute meeting, like just through the entire day. I'm not even sure I get a physical break today. I think I get one between 2. I think I always set that up as a kind of a hard stop just to be on the safe side. But, what's my day looking like today? My day is looking a lot. God, there's a lot of meetings today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. That's a lot. That's a lot. Anyway, but that's not really about you guys. You guys don't care about that. You don't care about my drama and how, the world works. It's all business. It's all business. That's what I'm gathering from the world right now. It's all business. So just move some things out of here. Drop in my Ethernet. Like I almost didn't even get on the show. Almost. It's that bad today. My eyeballs were like, you don't want to get up. You want to keep your eyeballs in your head. Or else they're probably going to just fall out on the show. I'll just be talking and then eyeballs will just roll out on my face and I'll be eyeless, like one of those horror movies. Yeah. So we'll see exactly how long I can operate without questions. Because it's one of those days. By the way, you guys all know I'm drinking coffee, but it's decaf. I don't have the ability to drink caffeine. So I have no pick-me-ups. Pick-me-ups for me are legitimate naps. That's my pick-me-up. Okay. Let me get my brain right here. I am not prepared for this today. Well, no clue. I just joined too. So, we're all on the same page. All right, let's take a look at, I guess we can talk about the chat and everything else that's going on. I did an event last night for, Keith says, I bet after releasing Vid at midnight. You see, that's the thing. And thank you, Keith. That's one of my members. As you look in the screen here, you see the green words by their names. Keith Just, Ernesto, Philip Tan. All of these are my members. These are people who support the Cleveland Terry experience, the show, whatever you want to call it. Especially this show. They support the show. And so they just, they're members. You can go on underneath. It'll either say join or it'll say member, something like that. That's an easy way to support the channel. So, all of you people out there, I appreciate all the support you can do, and I appreciate all this. Normally speaking, for instance, with the video that I just posted, I'm going to start getting into the habit, especially videos that don't require, um, that aren't time sensitive. Okay. For instance, hardware embargoes, things like that. I'm going to start dropping those early. So after I'm done, they will go to my members first. And then the following day, they'll end up on the everybody else, those other people, but the members will get it first. And in some cases, I'm still working on some things. I think they're going to do some videos that are specific to members, specific to members. So Anthony, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. I want to point out that yes, just because I shot the video at 12:15 doesn't mean that I put the video out. I shot the video, but now I got to edit the video. Now I got to, put all the toppings and seasoning on the video to make it look presentable. So when it's all said and done, I'm definitely not done at 12:15. 12:15, I shot the video. The video was probably, I don't know, half hour long. So let's say, close to 12:45, 12:50. Then I got to pull these videos off of the cards, the storage drives. Then I got to go through the entire video. So take that 30 to 40 minute video. I got to go through the whole thing. I can't just send it out. So that's another, and then I have to edit it as I'm going through it. Once I get it down to a part that looks good, then I got to watch the thing over again to make sure that I haven't, left some things in there that don't make sense. So yeah, that 12:15 is more like 2 something. And then I can't just go to bed, especially yesterday. Yesterday was a different story because yesterday I booked a gig for I booked a corporate gig for Remy Martin. So it was a Remy Martin and Usher collaboration out here in LA. And apparently they've been jumping around, all the major cities, not all the major cities, a few of them. Chicago, LA, New York, Vegas, that kind of stuff. Miami, I believe. So so that was yesterday. And it came last minute. They called me and was like, hey, actually they DM'd me. So just keep that in mind. We'll talk about that in a minute also. But they DM'd me last week and said, hey, I got this gig. You never really know. I get DMs all the time. Hey, I got this gig. Are you interested in working? You available? And I looked at the day. It was Wednesday. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm available. And they don't tell you anything until they're for sure that you are even available. Then they send all the stuff out and it's, all the information. It's all, silence. You can't talk about it to anybody, blah, blah, blah. They didn't tell me anything until I went and researched it myself. I took the company name, I took, because it was Remy Martin, I took that and I started Googling it and I found out what it was. And then after I told them yes, then they told me what it was. So, so that was yesterday at a place that I've actually done many events for. It's one of those, warehouses turned halls, not halls, turned, I guess it's hall rentals, but they do a lot of corporate events. They do bar and bat mitzvahs on the weekend, but during the week, they do a lot of corporate events. So, they made a roller skating jam for this Remy Martin, Usher collab. So it was like 8 to 11, but obviously because it's corporate, you got to get there ridiculously early. Originally they were like, yeah, we need you to come at 5. I'm like, I'm not coming at 5. Sorry. I know that venue. They have their own sound system. They have their own, I'm only bringing a controller and plugging into their mixer. So, I don't need to be there, 3 hours early. So I ended up getting there at around 6:30, legitimately was set up by 6:35. And then I just kind of waited around. They had a couple of performances, so I had to do some sound testing for that and sound checking for that. So, and then I didn't eat. because there was no food. Plenty of alcohol, no food. So I after that I left, went home, and I wasn't really hungry at that moment. I don't know. I was just kind of amped about everything, and I'm like, I gotta shoot this video. And I came home, and I walked in, and my wife was like laying on the couch, about to fall asleep. She was probably asleep before I got there, and I walked in. I'm like, I gotta go shoot a video. Good night. So by the time I got out of my office, it was everybody was asleep. Um, so then I made a quick meal and watched a little TV. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy that can just no, it wasn't at Millwood. It was at Playa, Keith, Playa Studios. But same situation. Like exactly the same situation. Um I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy that can just walk in a house and go to bed. That's not my thing. That has never been my thing. I have to wind down. And normally speaking, I get home and I, watch a little TV and chill for a minute. That would be my winding down, but I had to come straight into a video, which is a little hard to do. I'm not going to lie to you. I did not want to shoot that video at 12:15, but timing is of the essence. I knew I had to get that thing out. I was informed about it before I left for the show, but I didn't have time to shoot. So I just said, I'll wait for it. Anyway, so I did this show. It was a R&B skate and jam, which was very, very cool. And they were like, play an R&B. And it's always funny to me. The one thing I will say about anybody that works for any corporate event planning and stuff like that, the one thing that I've noticed, and it's starting to happen this way with like regular people too, but you can convince regular people that it's not necessarily the way, and that is like right when the music starts, they're like, play it upbeat, play it upbeat. And it wasn't that I wasn't playing upbeat. I wasn't playing like slow songs, but I was playing R&B. And I started out with some old school R&B. There was nobody there yet, but then they're like, no, can we can you pump it up a little bit? And I'm like, sure, that's fine. But, I like to let people, there's a whole another section, where people are coming in and taking pictures, and there's a wall and all that stuff. And then, they come in. So I'm like, okay. And the one thing I've noticed is that, everybody wants pure club vibes, like right from the beginning, even though there's nobody there. So I get it. They're trying to set an expectation and everything. So I get it. But that is a thing now. So it was supposed to be all R&B. And then I saw the crowd that came in. In the crowd, there was a lot of black people there. That's not the issue. There are a lot of black people there. And I knew that just R&B was not going to cut it. These are 20 somethings. There's some older people too, but mostly 20 somethings, models and everything else. They weren't just going to listen to R&B. You got to give them some hip hop. You got to jump around a little bit. So that's what I did. So I took what they said. I'm not going to say I didn't do what they said. I took what they said, but then I had to make some judgment calls, and so then I would adjust as I went. And here's the thing. And it could have gone either way. So I'm not going to lie to you. It could have gone either way. At the end of the night, first off, and people were like, oh, you were great. Everybody was just coming up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks. Whatever. So it wasn't about me. I knew what I was doing was appropriate and correct for the night. When I got finished and I'm walking over, I'm like, hey, am I done? Do you need me for anything else? Blah, blah, blah. And, the girls were like, oh my God, you were amazing. It was perfect. It was exactly what we needed. I'm like, yeah, thank you. I had to make some audibles a little bit. She goes, I know. I'm like, cause I was looking at the people and gauging on what they wanted, and I could feel, and she was like, nope, we noticed it too. And it was exactly perfect. It was exactly what you needed to do. Thank you. So what am I saying with all this? I'm saying that we are the professionals. They are the professionals at what they do. So a lot of times they'll tell you, oh, we want this, but they're not really, the words they use are not really translating with exactly what they want. See, they don't really know what they want. They want it to be upbeat and lively and people having a good time. They don't know musically how to get there. So sometimes people will communicate something to you, but their language needs to go through like a translator because their language may be different than what they're saying. You get what I'm saying? You know, they're saying, "Oh, I want R&B." Okay, but what R&B do you want? Because if you want R&B, it's not going to be super hype. R&B in itself isn't super hype, you know, but there's windows in there. You know, there's pockets in there. You know, but the most important thing is making sure that everybody's having a good time. And when I'm playing and when I'm playing, you know, R&B, whatever I'm playing, I'm looking around at the crowd and the crowd's like, "Okay, whatever," you know. And then I just send in track or two and people light up. People are moving. People are singing the words, you know. They're doing their thing. I got to make a call. I got to make a call. Yeah, and even R&B, Mike has said, you know, 70s and 80s is very different from the 90s. So, yeah, absolutely. I think in my opinion, the 90s was like the pinnacle for R&B. Maybe even into like early 2010s. That was the pinnacle for R&B. Anything after that, we were in the 2000s and 2010s, 50, you know, 20s, where it's not really R&B anymore. It's hip hop. You know, it really is. Because a lot of the new R&B, which I absolutely love, but the new R&B is definitely a different vibe altogether. You know, the true new R&B. But everything else is just hip hop variants of it. And that's fine. That's fine. You know, so I was jumping around and I played a little like I played a little Afro beats. I played some, you know, a little bit of reggaeton. I played some, you know, some pop music. And Afro beats technically could be considered, but you got to be sure. You got to be sure when you're playing Afro beats. You know, are you playing those Afrobeat stuff that is mostly mellow? And in a lot of people's eyes, if they don't know the music like we know the music, um, they're gonna go, "Oh, can you beef it up?" And that was the thing because I think I started off playing like some of that kind of stuff. You know, can you give it, you know, beef it up a little bit? You know, I'm like, okay. So you have to be able to read between the lines and you know, figure out what's best for the client and what's best for the crowd. You know, because if they don't tell me straight up no to this, I don't want to hear this, then the window is open. You know, yes, I will have a foundation in R&B. You know, I'll sprinkle in some R&B tracks, you know, sprinkle in some Ushers and all that. I mean, it is his collab, so I will sprinkle in some Usher stuff, you know, but then I'll jump around, you know, and I'll stay topical at the end of the night around, you know, between 10 and 11. Yeah, I went harder because the people were clearly wanting it, you know. So but I made a judgment call. And that judgment call, um, yes, yes, it was a woman. That judgment call could have backfired on me, could have completely backfired on me. But I think that as we DJ and as we become more and more experienced with what we do, and we've been doing it for as long as we do, we have the right to make judgment calls. And I wasn't going to get into the back and forth of like, well, can I play this kind of stuff? Can I play this kind of stuff? Don't do that. You're just asking for people to tell you no. I would rather put it out there, let them see the reaction and the responses from the crowd, and go, he knows what he's doing. And that's what I did. There you go. Anyway, because it is. Hold on. I always have to watch when I hit mute now. I don't want another episode with no sound. We don't want that. That's bad. No sound is bad. Got it. I like when they ask for more ump. And that, to be fair, that's also a me thing. I don't know about you guys out there, but I'm fully transparent with people. One of the things that I've worked on is my ability to start hard, because for me, it's always been, I'm DJing for a long time. And in the past, people didn't want you to start with the hottest records or even remotely. It's like a cocktail. They want people to come in. They want people to kind of get, I don't know, acclimated with the world. But in general, that's not the world now. Everybody wants you to come in hard, come in pounding. That's what they want. And for me, that was one of the things I needed to work on, because I was always coming in softer and building. I was always a builder. That was just my thing. Now I'm not. Now and don't get me wrong. I started early. So when I'm playing early and people aren't even there yet, I'm playing for me. I'm playing for me. So I always play obscure stuff that nobody's heard of. That's dope. And then what happens is I play that stuff, and this is the funny part of my story. As I'm playing that stuff, before they were like, "Hey, can you, do your thing, blah, 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 beef it up." Before that, I'm playing my stuff, and these people keep coming up, "Yo, man, this set is dope. Keep going, blah, 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 blah." So I know that it's working, but they don't know, because they're not in the world that we're in, and there were DJs there and stuff. So it's like, I get it. There's a lot. It's Usher stuff. So all his gang is there, and a whole bunch of DJs. But it was a good time. It was a very good time. And, I did my thing. Ruben in the building. What is going on, fam? I have not tried the new sound switch yet. I haven't seen anything. I have not done anything, because I've barely been online, because I haven't had time. This is busy time for us. And as a matter of fact, I have a gig tomorrow too, and I have a gig on Saturday. This is busy time for us in the office administratively, because everybody and their mom came back from summer, and now they want to talk, which is why I have so many calls today, which is why I had so many calls yesterday, and I will continue to have calls. If I didn't set limits on my Calendly, I would have calls throughout the entire week, but I only take calls between Tuesday and Thursday, because I'll go crazy. I will legitimately go crazy. Seanster in the building. Good to see you. Thanks for becoming one of the members today. Appreciate you, fam. Appreciate you. AJ says I start with bangers and tone it down, then rev back up based on crowd response. So yeah, that's one way to do it. Once I'm in bangers, I don't stop. So I'm just going through. Now I'll change the vibe up. Obviously, that's one thing I will do. But yeah, once I'm in it, I don't go back down. It's just, heater after heater. 3 hours of heaters nonstop. Now, of course, look, I don't have walls on me, so I can play anything. So literally, I went from, I like to kind of move up in speed. So I started at around 100. And then as I keep progressing, I'm up to 110, 115. Now remember, there are performances. So I did have some flexibility there, but, I go up. Now I'm in the faster, I'm up to the 118s, the 120s. Now I'm playing, dance music, that kind of stuff. Obviously still staying to like the current, R&B and stuff. I didn't play any pop music. I didn't play any Katy Perry's and shit like that. But I did play some Flow Riders, some Pitbulls, some Missy Elliott's, things like that, things that are just kind of universally loved. Went up to some Jersey, played some Jersey beats for a little while. That always works. Then, I didn't go hard hip hop until I hit Jersey. And then because Jersey sits at usually around, 140 to 150. So then I could make the transition to the 70s. Went there and kind of jumped around. So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I always have fun doing it. Okay. Lance Jackson in the building. What's going on? DJ Farns in the building. What's going on? Let's see here. I guess we should probably read some comments. Jack Tumbo says, if you would get an invite, would you accept a job in Europe? Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, if you pay my rate and you pay my travel, I'll go anywhere. I will not say no to anything. As a matter of fact, not that this is anything remotely close to Europe, but I don't know if you guys remember the video I did maybe a year or two back, and it was the Arizona gig where my flight got seriously delayed, and then I was late to the event because of dumbass Southwest. Why were you late to the gig if you didn't see the video? So I will cliff notes it for you. I had a gig in Arizona at 8:00, 7:30, give or take around there. So I booked my flight, and LA to Arizona is legitimately 1 hour. It's like going to Vegas from LA. Get there. I set my flight for 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Assuming that if I do get delayed a couple of times, I'm still going to be there well within the time I need to. If it's 10 a.m., I get there at 11. I Uber in. I'm there by 11:30 noon. My flight was severely delayed by multiple hours, and they did nothing to try to communicate with us. They did nothing to try to move us to other flights. They just sat there on this stupid flight while everybody else was going to Arizona on other Southwest flights, just not ours. So I didn't even fly 10 a.m. Okay. 10 a.m. flight. I didn't fly until around 6:00. Now, why didn't you just leave there? Because they made it seem like everything was being fixed upon the hour. They were this is what's going on. This is what's going on. We hope to have it up in an hour, blah, blah, blah. They were lying, flat out lying, just lying. The plane was broken and they had no other planes is basically what happened. They had to bring another plane in for us to go off of. So they were waiting for whatever flight was coming in from wherever they were coming from that was stopping in LA to then going to Arizona. They were waiting on us. They were waiting on that. So we got screwed. So I have another event, same company, the same company client. The client loves me. So I've done every single one of their events since their first kid was 13, and we did her bat mitzvah. So I think I've been doing this client, that's wrong word, for like, I don't know, 10 to 12 years. And I've done every single one of their events. Now, the last one, they were like, hey, when we want you to come out. It's so-and-so's graduation. They have like 4 kids. So we want you to come out. And I'm like, okay, if that's what you want, you're going to have to pay for it. It is what it is. And they're like, that's fine. So they called again. They're like, hey, we want you to come. We're finally going to do the event. One of their kids is like a Warriors cheerleader. She just made the team. And then she just graduated college also. So when I called her, I said, hey, yeah, that's great. I can do it. Your price is going to go up. I said, because of you were the last day of flight I've ever done. Every single client I've flown up the night before, and a lot of people don't like that. What do you mean? I need another room. You got to pay for another room. You got to pay for another night. But the gig is not till tomorrow. Doesn't matter. I can't guarantee if I fly that day that I will be there in time. So you got to pay. I'm sorry. So a lot of people understand now, but it's not up for negotiation. You know, you got to pay. Perfect example is when I flew into Montana 2 weeks ago. I am going to release that gig log. I'm going to do it like a, I won't tell you. You just have to see it. And I was delayed. My layover was delayed for the dumbest reason. For the dumbest reason. It was delayed when we got in, delayed 3.5 hours because our crew was on another flight coming in to my layover. Their flight got delayed for whatever unknown reason, which means that now my flight is delayed because we have no crew. So 3.5 hours waiting just for the crew to arrive. That's a stupid reason to be late. But had I gone the day of, I'm missing their not engagement party, their rehearsal dinner. I'm missing it. So I don't do that anymore. You know, if you're going to pay anybody large amounts of money to come out and do an event, I don't think a few more $100 for a room is going to kill you. If that's going to kill you, then I don't know, maybe not book us, because this comes with travel. I'm sure you don't expect your people to just fly in the day of. You know, they're going to come in the night before. And I missed out on horseback riding because of that. Because I didn't get in until the flight literally didn't get into Montana until 1 a.m. So I didn't even get to my hotel till like 2 something. Okay. I'm not sure if there was a story behind any of that, and then I kind of shifted off, but the way my brain is working today, that's what you're getting. All right, let's see here. Travis Davis asks, any recommendations on a camera for recording mixes for YouTube? Or would a smartphone be the best route starting out? Mostly looking for something to do overhead shots. Yeah, any camera. I noticed somebody said 1080p. Any 1080p camera will be fine. Excuse me. What you'll notice, like for instance, the video I did yesterday, that whole video shot in 1080p. Yes, I'm using a very good camera and very good lens, but it's shot in 1080p. So don't get into the megapixel wars. You don't necessarily need to have this full resolution 4K sensor and all that stuff. You know, that stuff is great for reality if you're really if you're really projecting on a humongous TV, or if you're trying to punch in, like I'm zooming into my face, I'm zooming into, you know, gear. That's where 4K comes into play. Because then that way you can blow the picture up more without actually having to manually physically zoom your camera. You can blow the picture up and you're not going to lose any loss of detail. That's the difference. But 1080p, honestly, a lot of the things I've shot have been on my iPhone, and I don't even have like the 14. I have like the 13 on my iPhone. I've shot on my iPhone. I've shot on, I mean, iPhone's probably the lowest quality camera I own, but a lot of times, as long as the light is good in your thing, wherever you're shooting, as long as the light is good, you won't have any problem. Won't have any problems whatsoever. And it looks like for mixes on YouTube, so it looks like you control your lighting. You'll be fine. Just keep your lighting good. Lighting changes everything. For instance, I did get one of the Mevos for use when I was out in at DJX. And yeah, when I was in light, I was like, this is a great camera. It's a great camera. Then I got into like low light. I was like, oh yeah, there's a reason that my camera's so good. Because light is the enemy of all things camera related. Lance Jackson, what's your thoughts on Pioneer subs and tops? I have videos on those. They're solid. I actually own them. I use them in my fourth system. I use it for I have the Express 12s and 18s. I use them for parties up to like 150, somewhere around there. And they're fine. Haven't had any problems with them. They remind me of and I think their highs are actually, they sound really good. I'm not gonna lie to you. Their highs are good. Their subs are good. They're solid subs. They remind me of the old Eon 500 series subs. You know, they have a little bit of punch, but they're more warm than punchy, and which is fine. So that's kind of what it feels like to me. They sound good though. I was really impressed with their 10s. Their 10s sound better, and they function well out of their weight class. I do like the 10s. I have the 12s, but I like the 10s a lot. Okay. I tried using my GoPro, but it overheats after 10 minutes. Huh. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't use GoPros, but I thought all the newer ones after I think the GoPro 5 or 6, the quality has been really good across the board. So I don't know what yours is, but yeah, your room must be getting real hot. That's all I can think of. Keep some fans on. Sorry, I'm trying to look at notes here, and I got to move my picture over here because I can't read the comments. Let's do some moves. Move over. Okay, it won't let me move over. Fine, I'll put it right in the middle. Steve says the Eon 515 XTs are really good speakers. Were really good speakers because they don't make them anymore. But yes, as far as Eons are concerned, to this day, I think the 515 XTs are the best Eons that have ever been made. Nothing has compared to them. Their range, their low end, nothing has compared to them. Anyway, it is what it is. Okay. Shanster says, active or passive system. What's the benefit drawbacks of both? Oh God, that is a nerd ass question, Shanster. Nerd. Okay. I'm just going to paraphrase here because I am tired. Yeah. We started out with active systems, so I can definitely tell you the benefit and the pros and cons of it. Okay. So first off, passive systems definitely offer you theoretically more control, more customization. Essentially with the passive versus an active, you're still getting the same setup, just one's built in, one you have to bring outside of it. So you have far more flexibility as far as the sound you want to produce and the types of gear you want to use if you are using passive. The difference is now you got to have a rack just for your amps. And I know they've gotten smaller, but I don't know. I don't trust those super small amps. The difference is, typically speaking, on a passive, now you're adding that extra weight in. Now you have to bring in a lot more, because you can't just run active amps and expect to get the sound quality you need. You're going to have to run crossovers, and you're going to have to run, mostly crossovers. And I like the drive racks. Those do a really, really good job. I had drive racks in every one of my passive systems. But besides that, active systems have come such a long way. Everything's in the box. They are getting lighter. The quality is finally getting there. It took a long time for me to move from my passive system because I didn't think that anything could match the sound coming out of like my Serwin Vegas and my PRX. And first off, my passive PRX speakers used to be, they were the ones right underneath the top. They changed their designations, so PRX is now not all the way at the top, but when I bought them, they were. But yeah, it took a long time. I kept testing systems out. We would get new equipment for like our smaller systems where we did use powered systems. We used to use Eon setups for all of our powered systems, and they weren't even close. They weren't remotely close to the sound coming out of my Earthquakes and my JBL highs. Nothing sounded as good. And then finally, once I got the SRX tops and the 828 sub, that was the closest sound here, the closest output. And yeah, we're not going to get into ohms, Don. That's a whole different nerdy thing, whole different thing. It was the closest sound to my passive system. Finally, the closest sound. And then I got really, really diva'd out. And now I'm using the QSC ones. The QSC 118s and the 12s are very, very good. Do they sound like my SRXs and my 828? Absolutely not. But they sound good enough. And with that sound that's good enough, they now fit into my F-150 without, having to make things far more complicated. The 828, as great as it is, it's kind of a nightmare to set up. Not to set up, it's a nightmare to put anywhere. A lot of times you get into places where there's not enough space for it. You can't even put it anywhere. It's in the way. So there was just too many like pros and cons of it. And that's the same thing with with amp racks. Now you got to find a place for your amp rack. When you're in limited space, you may or may not. You might walk into a place and they have a custom booth designed for you. Now you got to find a place to hide that amp rack. Like there's a lot more with amp racks than just having the amps in the speakers, like a lot more. So for me, there's a convenience factor to it also. But yes, you can get, we're not going to get into ohms. It's a whole different thing, and I'm not getting that nerdy today. Oh my God. I am so tired. See, look, this is what happens. This is what happens when I don't get sleep. I start looking at questions and reacting out loud. Normally, when I have sleep and I see questions that I'm like, I don't want to answer this question. I'll be politically correct. Blah, 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 blah. Right now, like when I see a question like Rain 4 or Flex 10, like that question, that's one of those trigger questions for me that I'm like, I do not want to answer that. DVD Poc, I think it's Poc, says Rain 4. They're good. They're both good. I got a Rain 4 and a Flex 10 sitting right there on the ground. Actually, legitimately on the ground. They're both good. Oh, they're both good. They're both good. Coke or Pepsi? Sprite. Or Sierra Mist, which is not even Sierra Mist anymore. What are they calling it now? Starry. That's Sierra Mist. Without the carbonation. That's the one thing I've noticed about Starry. I like the flavor of Starry. We started drinking Starry. And, oh God. Stop with the RCF. Stop. So good. I'm sure it's good. I'm sure it's good. but I'm also sure that there are subs equally as good. And I've actually heard the the separate subs. They're solid. It tired. Tired. I don't get the hype. RCF's a very good speaker. Quality. Quality is relative. I've been reading things on boards that say the quality is questionable, but sound wise, everything quality is good. Okay, I've heard this. I've heard those subs. They're good. They sound good. I don't believe that they are as amazing as people want them to be. Correction. I don't believe that there are not any other subs that can compete on that level equally. So I'm of the mindset that, for instance, if you tell me RCF, oh my God, the subs, no sub is beating out Baseballs, in my opinion. So what does it matter? Everybody keeps talking about RCF, but Baseballs has the better sub. They have the better sub. I haven't heard any sub out there that sounds as good, as power packed as a Baseballs. Now, I don't own a Baseballs sub, but they definitely hit. They definitely hit. But I'm just getting a little tired of the, oh my God, RCFs. I have now used them multiple times. I use them on a rental. I use them. I've listened to them on speaker shootouts, and yeah, they're good. They're good, but they are not the end all. They are not the end all. There are plenty of speakers out there that are just as good. Plenty of speakers. And I said it last week. I'll say it again. I think the RCF tops are overrated. I think they're sterile. I think they require a crap ton of EQing to make them sound, good to listen to. I think people hear sterile and they're like, ooh, listen to the crispiness. People don't want to hear crispiness. They don't want to hear crispiness on the dance floor because crispiness turns into ear fatigue. There's a difference between crispiness, like having like a good quality sound coming out of the tweeters, and it turning into this kind of burning ear thing. I don't want to give my people ear fatigue. And the first thing I heard when I heard the RCFs, they're really, really sterile up top. Same thing with Baseballs, super sterile up top. I had to roll off so much high end on the RCFs to get them to sound in my ears what I felt was like, this is a good listening, because they're very, very sterile, very sterile. Now, does that mean that they're bad? Absolutely not. You EQ them and you get them to where they are. But the thing is, a lot of DJs out there do not know how to EQ their systems. They don't. So I get into their venues. I forgot my light. Hold on. I get into the venues and test it out. Perfect example. The QSC system that I bought because I wanted a smaller system, and I heard really good things about it. So when I went to this wedding to go check it out, it was a humongous hall, super deep dance floor. So it was a perfect testing scenario for the QSC system. And I got in there, and the first thing I was going like, I don't like the way this sounds. And walking around the room, I'm just like, I hear it. I hear it in there. It's there, but I don't like the way it sounds. So I went to the back and I'm like, hey man, do you mind if I just make some adjustments to your system? Like that's like total faux pas. I know this, because DJs are, they know everything. So no, my system is exactly where it needs to be. No, don't touch my stuff. But this guy, he knows me. He's like, of course. And I went in there and I noticed that his settings were all out of whack. They were all the default settings. I changed the default settings, changed some stuff up. And next thing you know, they finally sounded the way they were going to. Because when I first walked in, I'm like, oh, I'm not buying these speakers. These speakers are not good, And then I flipped everything over, changed the settings. And then all of a sudden, they sounded really, really good. And then that's when I bought them. So a lot of DJs will take their default out of the box system and just turn the volume up to 12 and go, oh, this is amazing. This is amazing. But what they don't hear is when they finally are, people are on the dance floor and they're playing their music and now they're like, oh, let me turn it up. This is the part they don't think about. Then they just turn the master volume up on their mixer, on their controller, whatever. And they haven't EQ'd for louder volumes. They've only set it up for like, whatever middle of the ground volume is, and which could be loud, but your testing is usually never as loud as when there's 200 people on a dance floor. And now you got to pump it up more. Like it's just not possible because when there's nobody in a room, it's just louder than when there is. So, so then you turn up the knob and now that harshness, that sterileness is amplified. So yeah, no, people don't EQ their stuff. And prime time is absolutely correct. Too crispy. So prime time, see QSC, crispy, too crispy. Translation. Oh my God, listen to how detailed the sound is. Oh wow, it sounds so amazing. I don't know what about speakers for outdoors as well means MPC. Can you clarify that? Okay. Let's see here. Matt Ames says, I recommend DJ studying sound engineering too. Ben Stowe, Young's Tuesday Night Live show on DJ and TV is a great source. Agreed. Yeah. Ben Stowe is very, very good. I come from an engineering background. I still do just on the side. I used to produce music and I was the engineer of all of our albums. So I have a different ear for sound and I know this. So I'm very, very particular about the way a system sounds. And it's weird because lately, every single, oh my God, this is the most amazing system. This is a blah, blah, blah one. And this is blah, blah, blah. And I get in there and I'm like, do you guys not hear how trebly, how ear fatigue burning this sound is? You don't hear that, but listen to how good it sounds. It doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound good. People prefer warmth over crispiness every day of the week. You give them warmth, they will stay there. You give them crispy, they will leave early. These new engineers, man, trash, I tell you. You don't use any default settings on the K12.2. Do you change them manually for each event? No, I don't, Alejandro. I don't change them for each event. I get a sound that I like, and then that's the sound that I use. Every so often, depending on the room I'm in, I might have to go like full range over letting over a crossover on the highs and letting the subs go, just because maybe I have too many people. Because sometimes if I have 200 people and over, I typically go full range on my highs to give it a little more low in the middle of the body. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously people react to bass, which is the funny thing about yesterday. If there was no bass, they can only have highs because of the ordinance of the venue. If they had bass, I guarantee you the reaction would have been even more great. But there's no bass. So now I'm compensating for the lack of bass too, which is incredibly difficult when you got, 300 people in a room and all you have are highs. Incredibly difficult. So I need to pat myself on the back a little more about that kind of stuff. I'm essentially like, elevator music. What was I just talking about? I was talking about, yes. So if there's a lot of people in the room, and I know there is, yeah, I will go to full range on the highs. And Alejandro says, I adjust the EQ on my K12 tone. I mean, look, guys, let me back up. I'm always adjusting. Okay, you do a sound check for the room, you're going to make adjustments, but usually they're just subtle adjustments because I have the sound that I want. Now it's just about making it work in the room that I'm in. You know, if you have to make sweeping adjustments every time you go into the room, that just means you haven't found the sound that you haven't found that middle ground. You want to have a middle ground. Okay. You know, this is my baseline. This is my baseline for sound. I know how it sounds. I know that Philip asked me about the song I use as my reference for all of my EQing. I use two songs. I use lately. I've been using, not lately, but for the past I don't know, 5 to 7 years. I've been using Justin Bieber's "That Power" with Will.i.am. That's the song that I use. And then if I go to another song to check low end, there's a remix of Fruit Machine that's pure low end sine bass, and I'll run that one after to make sure that my bass is hitting. So that power gives me a good sense of the highs if they're too hot. It has a good kick drum, but it has a very clean kick drum. So now I can see if that pop is there. And then the middle is just a really good bass line, so I can feel that out. Then I use Fruit Machine just to fine tune my bass to make sure it's hitting the way it's supposed to. So everybody's different though. You know, you find a song that works for you and go from there. Another excellent song to use. You're gonna laugh at me. But one, and I'm not talking about, you know, don't go playing some Steely Dan or something like that. You can, but I don't think that it works, you know, because it's not really, it is what it is. And I love Steely Dan, but Toxic, Britney Spears. That might be the single, not the single. I'm overreacting right now. That's one of the best engineered tracks I've ever heard. Toxic is just impressive. Honestly, give it a second. When you get a chance, when you're off of here, just play Toxic. Put on some in-ears or your headphones or something like that, and just listen to the engineering of Toxic. It's super impressive. Honestly, this is not a lie. And it's funny because when I used to engineer a lot more, and then I'd go to Pro Tools forums and things like that, and I said that on there, and you would be surprised how many people were like, "Oh my God, you are absolutely right. It is incredible." You don't have to like Britney Spears, but that engineering, top notch. Okay. Let's see here. I can see that on about damn time. I can see that. Yeah, definitely I can see that. It's definitely has a really balanced sound. Yeah, agreed. Okay. More subs equal less of a need for so many highs in a small venue. Works great until you're using 1200s and needles. Please, DJ, take care of that issue. Yeah, phase DJ. Yeah. This is true. But there is a solution. Don't sit right on top of your subs. You know, take your system back a bit, because one of the most frustrating parts of just the 828 in particular, that's the JBL SRX 828, is the boom radius on the 828 is severe. So if that 828 is sitting right in front of you, like right there, you can't even hear. Like you're brain dead. So you got to push that thing out, or it's gonna drive you crazy. Okay. All right, let's see here. And mixed messaging in the building. Yeah, Loyals is Loyals. I know a lot of people use Loyals. I know. Philip says, for me, Boz, Skaggs, Low Down, George Benson. George Benson's is great for that really pure. It's like easy jazz listening. You know, it's funny. Those are always the songs that anytime I go to like conventions, um, those are the songs they play, which I think is hilarious. Not because it doesn't work and you can't hear the sonic details of the speakers, but because nobody cares. That's the thing. I walk into these conventions and there's 50, 20 and 30 somethings in a room listening to speakers. They don't want to hear Give Me the Night as an example of how your music is hidden. They don't want to hear that. I don't understand. If you are playing, if you're trying to demonstrate the sound quality of your speakers, oh my God, play something that the people know. Tired. This is tired CT going here. So tired CT is the worst CT. The worst CT because I am an asshole when I'm tired. The worst CT. You don't want tired CT, just hanging out all day. That's a bad experience. Tired CT is not good, especially considering I'm going to take the next 4 hours literally putting on a smile so I can talk to these clients. And that's exhausting. And that's exhausting when I'm wide awake and rested. Now put on that I'm exhausted. Do you know how much energy that requires? I guarantee you my wife is going to stay away from me today. That is a guarantee. Hey, look, another question about the Rain 4. We haven't talked about that at all. So, welcome, DJ Woo. I don't recognize the name, so you're clearly new. Thanks for hanging out today. What you will find, first off, Rain 4 is a very good controller. If you really want the details, I have a video under my playlist in Terry's Gear Reviews. I got to change that, by the way, because Cleveland is my actual name. I think that's what's confusing people. If you go down, there's a full Rain 4, full detailed review on it. It'll tell you everything you need to know. Everything. But spoiler alert, it's a very good controller. Love You More Today. Now, Spiral Staircase. I love the track. In fact, it was one of the songs I used in our montage when I got married. You've watched it. Now you're just trying to piss me off. Thanks for that. Thank you, DJ Woo. It's funny though. This is a sidebar. It had nothing to do with DJ Woo. This is a sidebar though. I love when people ask me about reviews. What do you think about the Rain 4? What do you think about the Flex 10? What do you think about the Rev 7? And I'm like, oh, I have a video on it. Yeah, I've watched it. What do you think? What does that mean? You watched it and you still want me to tell you what I think, even though I've told you what I thought. Do you think I'm lying when I make these videos? That's kind of what I feel. Not Woo, I'm not directing it at you, but a lot of people really are like, hey, yeah, but really though, I saw your review, but really, what do you think? Come on, man, you can tell me. I won't tell anybody. Since 79. Are you familiar with PSSL? Are they legit? Looking at some gear on their site, but skeptical. I've actually bought gear from PSSL. They're actually located in California. Yeah, I know they're not as well known. And usually when you're searching for something, they pop up and you're like, I don't know, but they are legit. They're legit. Mac Joseph in the building. What's going on, fam? Okay. Let's go back up. See, look, DJ Kirk. Did I miss the talk about in music? I have the Rain 4. Should I be concerned? You didn't miss the talk because I did a whole video on it last night. Hence why I'm tired. It all comes back around. We can talk a little bit about it. Yeah, Mac, exactly. But what do you mean by that? I know you said you liked it, but come on. Come on. What? Come on. It's me. It's me. Shh, I'm not going to tell anybody. It's me. Come on. There's got to be something. It's the same thing that clients ask me. So, I'm multi-op. I have multiple DJs, multiple MCs, and they'll do this question to me. So, well, who's best? I know you have to tell everybody that everybody's good. I know you have to say that, but come on. But in reality, who's best? Who would you book for your bar mitzvah? Who would you book for your wedding? And I'm literally like, it pisses people off because I'm like, no, you don't understand. Everybody in my family, all of my relatives, a lot of them were all in their 20s and 30s. So they all got married and they all hired my company to do the event. With one strict rule, I could not be the DJ there. I had to be the guest. They wanted me to do nothing, just enjoy the party. So I had, in the course of like, I don't know, 6 or 7 months, I had like 4 of my relatives, of my cousins, get married, and I used a different crew every time. And just recently, I had 2 more, and I used a different crew every time, and every time they were good. Now, are we saying that maybe I didn't feel in the back of my mind that I could do better? I'm not saying that, but maybe a little bit. But what I am saying is this: they did nothing to have me get up and tell them to do something, which is always my trigger point. If I'm thinking about the DJ, that means the DJ is not doing their job. The only thing I should be thinking about the DJ is this DJ is dope. That's it. That's it. Or corny. Not necessarily my guys, but that's typically what I think about, especially at a wedding. But typical weddings, I'm thinking this DJ is trash. I cannot believe they hired this DJ. Come on, honey. Come on, get up and dance. I can't. I can't physically move out of my seat because this DJ sucks so bad. He's not giving me anything. I can't. I'm sorry, honey. We are not dancing tonight. Good day, ma'am. Good day. I'm very simple. I'm very simple. It takes me 3 to 5 songs to get on a dance floor now. And I was B-boy. I had dance crews. That was me. I would get on that dance floor immediately. Do some 1990s, like do my thing. I'm not there anymore. So now it takes a minute. So my DJ radar, my DJ meter is here. And you play a song, okay, it's good. You play another song, okay, good. You play another song, okay. I'm ready to get on the dance floor. You play another one, okay, let's go. This DJ's dope. But if you give me, oh, this is a good song, and then the next one, oh, this is trash. Well, now we got to restart. Sorry, we got to restart. Sorry, honey. We're not dancing today until he gives me 3 consecutive bangers. I need 3. I'm dead serious, by the way. This is not even a joke. I am dead serious. My wife is always like, you don't dance with me because this is trash. That's why. You know it and I know it. Well, just ignore it. Can't you just get up and dance? No, I cannot. This is trash. I don't dance in trash. I don't work in trash. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to the bar. Maybe the bar can get me on this dance floor. Oh, Mac. I don't know, man. I think you got it. I think you're gonna get me. Although I'm considering, one of the things One of the things that I'm like Don Rafa. I'm like I'm like when you play like Call of Duty on like hardened mode or whatever that top one is, where if you die you start over. That's me. Like you get no checkpoints with me. You get no checkpoints. If you were trash, start over. Win me back. Win me back. Okay. Rain 4 or Ref 5? No, but seriously. Okay. I will give you the reason that I, in particular, can't use the Rain 4. It's a great controller. My problem with the Rain 4, me specifically, it's just too big for me. It's a very large controller. It's actually longer than a Prime 4, which I said in my video, damn it. So that is the big deal for me. That's why I can't. It's just I don't have a bag big enough for it, and right now they don't even make a bag big enough for it. I'm sure they do customized, but I'm not getting into that. So that's my problem. That's my biggest problem with it. It's solid. The stuff on it is solid. It has some great features, but it's just too big for me. Yeah, and if you're coming from an NS7, then this will be light for you. Yeah, but that's my issue. You mean Rain 4 or the Ref 7? That's just me, says Funk Juice. I mean, look, there's no secret, guys. I use a Ref 7. That is my controller of choice. Although I do like the Rev 5. I like it a lot. I mean, even without the internal effects, I like it a lot. And for me personally, if I had to choose between a Flex 10, because I'm not going to say SRT, because the SRT is good, but it's still the Flex 10 is better, especially if you're using stems, and I use stems a lot, so I prefer the Flex 10 over the SRT 1000. But the one thing I can't stand is the lack of paddles. And it's one of the reasons, and I use the SRT all the time. There's plenty of venues that use those things. I can do just fine. I just don't want to. So the Rev 5, had it come out for me at the same time as like the 1000 or even the Flex 10, I don't know. I mean, I think I prefer the Rev 5. I think I prefer the Rev 5, in all honesty. I don't know. I don't need 4 channels. First off, that's the one thing I don't need. So for me, it's just adding more space to a controller, more stuff. I don't need 4 channels. Anyway, just an opinion though. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Balance in all things says, what's your advice to a DJ who wants to play non-hits that check off all the qualities of good music? What type of audience should they be seeking? You know, this is a very good question. Because I think it applies also to an event that I had recently, which I am going to post that video on. Because I did an event for a company and I had to use non-copyrighted music. So I had to find music that had that that same vibe that worked, but it couldn't be popular music. So essentially, I'm playing stuff that nobody's ever heard before. But if you DJ it correctly, you find gems in the I guess in the trash. You can work it out. So for a person like you who likes to play stuff that is just, you basically what you're saying is it's not club appropriate. Okay. So meaning, you're not playing pop hits, you're playing obscure tracks and, things that work. Now, so it's going to be hard for you to get gigs like that because now you're operating in a very specific demographic, but there's always a place for you. Perfect example. I have another video. See, this is what happens when you don't have time. It's not so much that I don't have time. I just don't like producing mediocre shit. So that means that I have ideas for what I want and I don't want to just put it out yet. So that's why I haven't put these videos out yet. But there's a DJ right now, Hubby Beats. He's out of LA. He does like Persian Bally funk, Afro beats, hybrid. That's not for everybody. And when he first started doing it, people were like, "What is this? What are you playing?" But guess what? He developed a fan base. Now, every time he DJs like once a month or once every couple of months. He's selling out full nightclub venues himself. Not anybody coming to go, I just want to go to the club and here's the music. Selling out an entire nightclub just for him and his music. There's always a market for it, but you got to find it. And if you can't find it, you have to make it yourself. That's the best advice I can give you, honestly.
All right, guys, what's going on, everybody? It's your man, Cleveland Terry. I wanted to just do a quick video about this new unit. It's not out yet. It doesn't come out until July 31st. It hits market. I have pre-order it pretty soon, though. All right, so this is Tim. This is the man, runs this thing. They came out with an amazing product. I haven't tested it yet, but based upon what I'm seeing, this is one of those to beat.
It's a game changer.
Moving platters. It's $700.
What's up, everybody? How are we doing today?
This is gonna sell like hotcakes. So I'm gonna do a review, but tell me just real quickly, like, what made you guys decide to do something like this?
The history of DJing is vinyl, right?
Yeah.
And motorized jog wheels is the best we can get right now, in terms of replicating that with a digital controller.
Right.
So the Impulse T7 is our shot at the motorized DJ controller market, and the largest, most premium controller we've ever made.
Okay.
And we're pricing it just like we price everything else in the Hercules lineup.
Super aggressive.
Competitively. Let's call it competitively.
I call it aggressive, he calls it competitively, fine.
We're targeting both, obviously, beginner DJs who want to upgrade to a motorized platters, or working DJs who want something small, want something portable, want something that works with Strato Pro.
It has XLR out. Very important for a professional DJ that you have that. I'm impressed so far, though.
You'll see more of the T7 real soon.
All right, guys, follow my YouTube because we're going to do this review very, very soon. All right, see ya.
All right, I am trying to write some notes so I can answer some of these older questions. Okay, so I'll answer one question right now. Denon Engine OS. I have not used Engine OS update yet. I have not, so I haven't checked out daylight mode or any of that stuff. Although it works, daylight mode. That's what we asked for. I know that Mojax has a video on it, so I don't necessarily do updates on every single thing that happens, to be honest with you, because sometimes I think it's just smaller things. So I find a way to incorporate it into other things. But then, I'm like, maybe I will. And then that legal bombshell popped up. So I'm like, I should probably talk about that. I think that's going to get more interest than an Engine OS update, in all honesty. Especially because there wasn't like a lot. There wasn't something that was like, oh my God, we hadn't already talked about in the previous. Oh my God. Okay. Let's see here. You're more giddy and fun online when you're exhausted. I've heard that. I've heard that. All right. Let's see here. I know there was a question. These are all great examples, by the way, of music for testing. All great examples. Do you have a video on traveling to do a traveling gig by plane? Do you take or rent a controller, and how do you price it if you price the same as you would normally charge plus travel? Okay, good question. I don't have a video on that yet because I haven't really been doing gig logs. But depending on where it is, yeah, I rent. Now I have rental places, so I'll call around and try to find, like in Montana. It was very hard to find a rental place, but I did find one that was relatively close. And I tell them my needs. They tell me the price. If the price is too high, then I call somebody else and I tell them my needs, and then I ask for the price. We don't add the cost of the rental into our package because there's already a system in the package built in. So our travel costs also cover that excess if we are renting. Typically speaking, on average, and I say on average because it seems to be changing. Some people are starting to get a little crazy. On average, a regular system with like 2 subs, 2 highs, maybe a controller, maybe not. But let's just say there's a controller, table, front board, facade, and lighting, whether it be moving heads or even a gig bar, anywhere between $1,000 to $1,500. That's kind of the going rate. I think I paid $800 when I was in Montana. When we were out in the Bay Area, we found a couple of people, and I think they're around, give or take about $1,000. And yeah, that's with movers. I have people now trying to charge like $1,500, and I'm like, you can kick rocks. You're crazy. So yeah, that's usually the going rate. But yeah, my number, I think in Texas, when I did that wedding in Texas with the controller, I think I paid $1,200 for that one. And that one came with a full QSC setup, a Rain 12s, a Rain 72, diversity microphones. Like it was, they did a really good job. So it just depends. It depends on the location, depends on where you are, depends on the supply and demand, But I do have somebody in Arizona right now that's trying to charge $1,500, and they're a friend too. So that's a little high in my take. Like I said, I want to pay about $1,000. If I pay more than that, then we're just gonna send our own equipment. Because here's the thing. This is the thing that people don't think about. So when you set your price, and then you add in travel or whatnot, most of the times the equipment is included in the package. So if we were to say, for instance, go to Arizona, okay, so we rent a van, U-Haul, whatever, we throw our equipment in, we leave on Friday morning to get there by Friday night. Same thing we do even with equipment. The U-Haul is going to auto adjust for the excess mileage to 100 miles a day. So your rental is going to end up being like, I don't know, let's just say, $80 to $100 a day. I'm ballparking. Okay. Now we'll say 80. So then it's a little more expensive now. And then you have your gas. You got to fill up your tank. And say I'm going to Arizona from California, from LA. You're probably going to fill up at least two times. Because I think usually by the time you hit the border of Arizona, California, you gotta put some gas in. And then you got to put it in again right when you're like on the outskirts, right when you do see gas, to take a break too, and you typically top off. And the same thing coming back. and then filling up at the end. So maybe you fill up, I don't know, four times, 4 or 5 times. You guys know gas is not cheap. So you're probably paying another, $500 in gas. So you got $300 for your van rental. You got another $600 in gas. So you're at $1,000 right there. So that money that you're paying to rent from somebody in your outside of your area, it's a wash once you factor in that. Because if you rent that, you no longer have to get the van. Now you just upgrade the SUV or whatever you were using to transport the people over, and maybe it costs you an additional $150, $200, but way different than $2,000, for all of it. So, or $1,000. So basically, it's a wash, and that's how we look at it. It's a wash. Okay. I hate no sub venues. Yeah, me too. Let's see here. Some speakers sound great indoors, but not for out. What do you think is good for both? Point system. Point source speakers. There is no sub and high combination that doesn't work outside. What they will always work outside. What doesn't work outside for most of the time, column arrays. Column arrays struggle outside when they have nothing to reflect the bass off of. That is what I absolutely know. I will say this, LD does a better job of getting the sound to stay focused, in the area, but most column arrays, they struggle. They struggle outside. Okay. Let's see. Is there anything else up here? Answered all that. Rain 1 or Hercules T7. They're not the same. Okay. They're not the same. You're going to get a longer product life technically with a Rain 1 over a T7. T7, you're probably going to be fine even with direct drive turntables. I'm sorry, not direct drive, because they're not direct drive. With belt driven turntables, you're probably going to be fine. Probably. But you are missing the ins and outs that are on the Rain on the Rain 1. You're definitely missing the ins and outs. There's far more features on the Rain 1. And if you are looking at it from a professional standpoint and you don't use a mixer, then the Rain 1's a better choice than, a 1/4-inch tone knob and a microphone. So that's what I will say about that. Okay. Coffee for the win then. Yeah. All right. I want to ask you. Okay, I've answered that in a roundabout way. Okay. All right. I think I'm good. All right, let's drop down to the bottom. Okay, Afrobeats is taking over. There we go. That's where we are. Okay. Okay, Red Bull events. That's Puffy's dope. I have an interview on Puffy. He should be in the podcast playlist. I don't think I took it down. So take a look at that when you get a chance. Full on long interview with DJ Puffy. He's a great guy. Great guy. Although he's been so busy, he hasn't been responding to my text messages. So that's a thing. That's right. I'm calling him out. Too busy for me now. He's too big time. He's too big time. Calling him out. All right. We need to see more T7s in the wild. You're telling me, considering I don't have one to test. So yes, I agree. We need to see more out in the wild. I hope they're not waiting for my Mixon 8 reloop review. Because if they're waiting on that, I'm never gonna get a T7. Not that they're not gonna like my review, but I'm going to be honest. And sometimes honesty doesn't go over well, no matter how politically correct you are. All right. Mark says, we need help. Need help convincing the Vegas Strip to build right up to my house where I work in Silicon Valley and book my residency. Yeah. That sounds like a lot. Good luck with that. If you find out how to do that, let me know. I'll do the same thing. We'll be neighbors. Okay. And the market for Vegas absolutely is dependent upon who you know. Absolutely. You're not going to get help just walking in and be like, I'm a DJ. They're going to be like, so is the bartender. So is the cocktail waitress. So is the taxi cab driver. Unfortunately. So it is absolutely who you know. Okay. Let's drop down here. Ottawa, Canada salutes you. Eddie Paul, is Rain 72 work with Engine Prime? Engine Prime? What is it? Are you talking about the Prime series, like the SC 6000s? Yes, if that's what we're talking about. It will work with the 6000s, the 5000s, the M, the non-M. It will work with all of them. Okay. DJ Kenny says, I like Evolve 50s. Of course you do. They're easy. I used Evolve 50s for the first time in Montana. They're fine. They sound fine. They are not the end all. I know that much. But they did sound fine. The room I was pushing it in, I felt like they were underperforming. But they were good enough for the size of the party. But anybody that's like, oh, my Evolve 50s, that's my top speaker. I use that for everything. I don't personally see how you could. I think the Evolve 50s, in my opinion, probably top out at about 150. In my opinion, if 150 people, on the dance floor and they're going off, I truly believe that they're adequate. He says no small event to medium. Yeah, small event to medium. That's what I would say. That's 100 to 150 people. That's small to medium in my book. And I think they were fine. But I was also thinking, wow, if there was more people in here, this is definitely not what I would have chosen. But that's just an opinion. Like I said, everybody's ears are different and everybody hears things the way they want to hear things. So I'm not here to tell anybody that their opinion is wrong. If you like it, that's great. Favorite non-motorized jog wheel for scratching, says LL Coil J. Okay, well, here we go. I think for scratching, I'd probably say the Rain 4 has the best jog, non-movable jog for scratching. I'd probably say the Rain 4. Now, having said that, and the only reason why I say that is because the SRT, Flex 10, and the Rev 5 all have mechanical jogs, and mechanical jogs take a little bit of getting used to. So, you got to get your feeling right. I can scratch on a 1000. But there's certain things that I can't do on a 1000 because of the way once you let off of the mechanical jogs, how you no longer have a sensor for your hand. So that's my whole thing. Now, does that mean that because I say that there's things that I can't do that everybody can't? Absolutely not. Dynamics rips on a 1000. Absolutely rips on a 1000. He does things on a 1000 that I didn't think physically could be done, but he does it. So props to Dynamics. He's crazy. He's crazy. Okay. I think T7 missed its time to strike. That's actually a good statement. I don't think that it has to do with I think it's the whole umbrella. Just like the Mixon. The Mixon was so delayed, which we're going to have to talk about when I do the review. That it's literally fallen out of grace. People just don't even think about it anymore because it's gone. There's been so many other in the time that Mixon 8 announced from Reloop at NAMM 2020, was it 22? I think it was 22. By the time that they announced it to when I received it, there have been like 8 new controllers out there, like 8 of them from like the flagship companies, Rain, Pioneer DJ. Like it's insane to think that like people will hold over for as long as it is you're trying to make them hold over on. The T7, in all honesty, the T7 should have been released the week of NAMM. They should have had product in-house the week. Now, again, I know it may not be their fault. Production, manufacturing, I get it. I'm not telling them that, oh, you screwed up. I'm saying the best opportunity was absolutely at NAMM. At NAMM, when people heard $700 and it gives you everything that a Rain 1 gives you for the most part, good practice board, that is when they should have struck. Right then and there. Max says, I think the T7 can survive a rocky launch. Mixon 8 is DOA. Yeah, no. The T7 has potential. And it has something that the Mixon 8 doesn't have. And that is love from like scratch DJs. I mean, I wouldn't even buy a T7 for me personally. I wouldn't have a T7 for work, for events. Although maybe on occasion I would take it out, but I would have it here. Now the one thing I did look at Mojax's video on the T7, and the one reason that I would get it, small space, and I can practice my scratching on it. That's the one thing. But from what Mojax was saying, the crossfader is not the best. And I know that InnoFader is trying to do a drop in at some point, but right now, who knows? And if that crossfader is trash, it kind of takes all the fun out of the T7. Optical DJ screaming out his boomer statement. And I say that in a loving way. Optical DJ. Controllers are rubbish. Turntables will rock forever. Baja, get off my lawn. Look, I'm probably as old as you are, Optical DJ. I probably am. But the one thing I will say is I'm over it. I got turntables everywhere. I got turntables right underneath this desk. And if I go to a club and they ask me for my rider, I'm asking for turntables. Absolutely 100%. But if I'm going around and I got a DJ somewhere and I got to do 400 events and set up and load and party in the morning and a party at night, F that. I'm bringing a controller. I'm over it. I'm over super heavy ass stuff. I'm over things taking forever to set up when I get to my events. I don't want to spend more time breaking down than I need to. The Ref 7 gives me 95% of what a turntable system will give me. Maybe 90 because we're dealing with, 45s versus a full 12 inch. Like, so why would I care? Why would I care? Like for instance, yesterday, perfect example, yesterday, I'm doing this Remy Martin event. I could have brought turntables and showed everybody, look, he's on turntables. He's on turntables and an S11. Oh man. Oh, that's great. Or I can just use my Ref 7 and still cook the way I'm supposed to and be just fine. I'm over it. But if I have a rider, DJ Solstice in the building. What's going on, fam? This sign was made by DJ Solstice. So if you're looking for neon signs, don't hesitate. Call this man. He does great work. That's the guy right there. Optical. It's okay to be old, man. I'm not saying it. I'm just, I have to move on. I got to move on. I got to do what works. Oh my Lord. Hey people. I see your questions. You can hold off a minute. You can hold off. Okay. Fine. DJ Oh My. Oh my God. I played that yesterday too because it was, obviously. I'm going to play some Oh My God with Usher. Good headphone recommendations or switch to in-ear monitors. Okay. I'm going to tell you the reviewer answer, and then I'm going to tell you the personal answer. Okay. Reviewer answer. Either one of them will do the job. I have multiple pairs of headphones, all the way from like Beat Studios to Pioneer. I forget which ones these are. What are these? The one HD 1000s, I believe. To my V-Moda Crossfade wireless. I'll get them real quick just so we can kind of see. Hold on 1 minute here. Okay, so let's try to answer some questions here. So the V-Modas, and I got a video on the V-Modas, by the way. Sent them a while ago. These are the Crossfade Wireless 2s, and you see they got my logo on there, so they're definitely good for branding, for marketing. Love them, absolutely love them. I did the black on black. These used to be black on gold, but then my black on gold broke. Did they break? Just actually the clip finally broke. And that was after years and years of using. These things are built like a tank. And but I loved some of the gold. So I dissected the gold all the screws. Get out of my face. All the screws here, here, and here, and here, and here. And then I just replaced them with that. So I did a little surgery and love them. Also, these are great sounding. They fit on your head very nicely. As you can see, they're on my ear. Very low profile across the board, which is what I like about them. If you were to compare them to the Pioneers, and I know these are old, but they haven't really changed this part of them. If you go here, you put them on, see the difference, see how much bulkier they are, you see how much they come out. And it's not like they flip over, but you have this option, which you don't have on the V-Motus. They both sound good. I did feel like the V-Motus had a better seal around the ear. I do like the ear cups on the V-Motus. They're very, very good. Ear cups are good here, but as you can see, look at my ear cups. You know, this is over time. See all that cracking and all that stuff? That is a feature of some of the headphones. Especially with this. The same thing with the Sonys. The Sony 7506s use the same kind, and it does that cracking. I haven't had any cracking come from my V-Motus. So whatever they're using is really, really good. Okay, but those are some options. Now, moving into in-ears. In-ears, there's so many choices. I noticed somebody was talking about the Mi Sport Fi M6s. I mean, yes, there are several headphones out there or in-ears that are cheap and good on Amazon. So I'm not going to say that you shouldn't look into that, you know, especially if you're looking at the low end, then definitely. But like my favorite ones are the Shure. My favorite off the shelf in-ears are the Shure SE535s. They're a little pricey. I think they're like $500. I think they base their prices on their numbers. I think they're around 500. They might be a little cheaper now because they've come out with a larger armature headset, so it might be a little cheaper. But also, you can go with something like the Mackeys. Mackie has a couple of them. They're 310s and they're 410s, hence the name 3 armature, 4 armature. So you can go with something like these, which are good. Now, the only problem with these is, come on, get out of my eyeballs. Sorry, it's my fault because my eyes are, that's right now. Okay. So, these are good. They have the complete foam tips. I don't think I had to buy them. I think they came with them as an option. They sound good. The only problem with these for me is they didn't sit in my ears as well as my Shure 535s. The 535s are smaller. All right. The 535s are smaller. So here are the 535s. And if you were to compare the size of the two, you can tell the Mackeys are bigger. The 535s just sit in my ears and they're super small. Now, and of course, look, there's several other ones out there, but these are the ones that I own. I've tried, and I have both the 310s in the Mackeys and the 410s. For me, for some strange reason, the 410s fit in my ear better than the 310s do, and they have less armatures. So that was weird to me. The last one I will say is that if you want to move up to, the big boys, professionals, then no matter what you do, you should get yourself molded in-ears, no matter what company you're looking at here, because there are several out there. But getting molded basically sets your ears perfectly. So now you're not going to get any of the issues with, well, for instance, ear fatigue. One of the issues with in-ears, is, for instance, if you want to have a good seal, again, you have to use these complete foam tips. They do have the rubber ones too. I don't love them. I don't love the way they feel, and I think that they don't seal properly. Because what happens is on the Compleys, and I don't know if I'm saying it right. Is it Comply? Is it Comply? I have no idea. But basically, what happens is, so on the Compleys, you have to basically squeeze this down, like so, and then can you see it's kind of starting to expand? So imagine squeezing it down, shoving it in your ear, and then letting it expand, and then that creates the seal. All right. So, and DJ Kemi, yes, you are right. 3 drivers. That's why I said the 535s. And every single headphone I am talking about is 3 drivers or more. Okay. So once you move up to custom, custom moldings in your ears, now we're talking about a completely different sound. And I'm not even talking about with just the high end in-ears. I'm talking about getting any of your things molded. Like you can mold your AirPods, for God's sakes. Once you do that, the sound's going to be better because you're going to get a better seal. Now, the last ones I'll talk about are these. Okay. These are the Ultimate Ears in-ears, the E11s, I think the UE11s. And these are my favorite in-ears. They are the best in-ears I've ever used. One, because they are absolutely molded to my ears specifically. And not just my ear, but both of my ears, because they take molds out of both sides. So it's custom fit for your ears and your ears only. These will not work in anybody else's. But ever since I got these, I've been in love. I've been back in love with my in-ears. Now, the thing about the in-ears is the molded ones are the biggest issue with a lot of people when they use in-ears versus headphones is active listening. Okay. Somebody walks up to you, they have a question for you. Maybe you're using the monitor as your speaker because you don't do in-ear, split cue. All right. So that's that. So with headphones, when you want to hear, you just lift off like that. On, off. Done. Right. If you're using the 535s or any in-ear with Comply tips on them, remember what I just said. You had to squeeze them and then put them in, let the Comply pop out, and then seal your ear. So if you're constantly removing one of those ears and putting it back in, and one of those ears and putting it back in, what's going to end up happening is you're going to start to get kind of wear in your ear, and it's going to hurt. Okay. So basically what these types of things, once you put them in, you kind of keep them in until you don't need to. So, but you can't just keep putting them in and out, in and out. That would be an absolute nightmare, and that would start to hurt after a while. With molded ones, it doesn't matter. You can take them in and out all day long, in and out all day, and it would not matter. So let me show you, for example, what is this one? That's right. Okay. There's colors. Red is right. Blue is left. So normally, they sit behind me. I put them in my shirt and I put them behind me. So they sit like this. Simple as in and press them in, and then you can legitimately feel them click in. You can feel them click in. When somebody comes up and talks, you just take them out. And I can do this all day. They don't hurt at all. So for me, my right ear is kind of like my active listening ear. I do everything through my right ear. My left ear is always in. That is my cue speaker. So it's always in my ear. The right one is relative. But yeah, see, I'm in. I'm already in. The profile for both of them, super clean. In case you didn't notice, it does have my logo on it. And that's a nice touch. And it's clean. Now, I see Don Rafa saying $1,400. They're not cheap, but also they have different versions. This is the 11, but they have multiple versions. Okay, and I think they start Their lowest price is I think 700. Like anytime at NAM, like that's kind of the going rate is around 700 bucks. So not far off from like getting yourself a good quality, you know, SE535. But now you're getting them custom molded. So yes, they are definitely more expensive. Definitely more expensive, but these are your ears. You want to protect your ears, and also they're made for your ears. So nobody's going to steal them. They got your name on them, and they're literally made for your ears. Also, I noticed somebody was saying, I don't mind in-ears at home, but doing a gig, I don't like in-ears. They make me feel cut off from the environment. Okay, so this is a perfect statement. And T Diesel, that's my mod. Thanks for hanging out today. Appreciate you. Perfect. Because you can get an option for these headphones. I want you to look here. All right, let's do this. Okay, now you see right here at this bottom here, this is a hole. All right. Now when they come by default, it's closed. There's no hole here. All right. The hole allows for airflow. Airflow is how you get sound. And because these little holes are here, you can actually have conversations and hear music with your in-ears in your ear. It's not like you're hearing them in real without headphones on, obviously, but you can still hear conversations. You can still hear the music. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. That's a great feature. Great feature. So, yeah, 11 was how much? I think the 11s are, yeah, they're about 1,400 bucks. They're not cheap. But again, I'm not buying any more headphones. I don't even look at headphones anymore. One purchase, and that's it. Because they're made for my ears. Look, there are levels to this, guys. I know when people hear prices and they think, good Lord, you're the same people that turn around and buy a Rev 7. You're just deciding to value certain things more than other things. And for that, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. But a lot of times people don't really know how good something is until they're actually using it. And I've had the benefit of using a lot of products, a lot of stuff. So I know, and I'm not, and I get to use these products without even thinking about how much stuff costs, right? So it's funny to me that there are things that I use that aren't even the best that I just prefer to use because they're better for me. Something might be better or cost more. I don't use it. So for me, it's just whatever is going to give me the best, whatever it is that I need for my workflow. Tony Jacobson just asked, what are your favorite over-ear headphones on the market right now? I'm giving up sleep for this, right? I'm legitimately giving up sleep for this. I could be napping right now. You know that. Plus, it's after 12. After 12, I'm normally off here. I do like the Beats Studios, by the way. They're actually a decent headphone. They're not V-Modus. They're not Pioneer, but actually the Studios aren't bad. Aren't bad at all. Like I said, I got a lot of headphones. And now I don't use barely any of them. I still use my V-Modus when I'm practicing, because I use the Stanton STX to practice my scratches. And it's funny. Here's the thing about the Stantons. And I love practicing scratching on it. But the one thing I will say is because of the angle of the fader, and because a lot of time, you know, you are sitting down as you scratch, whatever, your hands get into a position that doesn't translate when you go to, like, you know, regular turntables or a Rev 7 or whatever. You have to like reposition your hands. That is the one thing I will say. I gotta figure out how to have it to where the angles are where they need to be. I still have the OG Beats Pro. There you go. Oh, the ones where if your battery dies, you can no longer use your headphones. You can change the angle. I'll have to look into that because I mean, there's screws in it, so I would assume the screws have to go into they go in a certain way. I'm sure. I mean, because right now the angle is either here or, you know, maybe here. I need it to be perpendicular, and I don't know if it's capable of that. I know there's screws, but the screws are already at an angle. So how do I get, if I put them at 12 o'clock, the screws? I don't know. I'll check it out. I'll check it out. Because that is one of my things. I was hoping to get a second crossfader just so I could work on both hands, but 2 on the plate, 2 under. Gotcha. Thanks, Gabe. I'll take a look. Who is texting me? Put Reggie on the big dog. Okay. Anyway, I use the Sennheiser HD2.8 Pros daily for a decade. Sennheiser. I didn't like the Sennheisers. Let me back up. I loved the sound of the Sennheisers. I just didn't think they got loud enough. That was my only issue with the Sennheisers. But they sounded great. They just weren't loud enough for me. Okay. Let's see here. Eddie says 3 or 4 times in the last month or so I've spent the time to arrange a set in Serato. After restarting my laptop, that setup is totally rearranged no matter what column I use to sort it. Well, there's only one column that you should be using to sort it and rearrange it, and that is the number column. So if you got, 1 through 20 and then you rearrange it on the 1 through 20, it should not change. Yes, when you open it up, it might be sorted to date or sorted to, I don't know, whatever you have it set up for. But the columns should remain the same. They should remain the same. So if your columns are resetting, isn't there a setting? Change your setting in Serato to, hold on. Try this and see if it works. If this doesn't work, then you're going to have to clear out your preferences, is my guess. You probably have a corrupted preference and it's just overriding stuff that you're doing. Okay, so let's see here, 41%. I don't need a crowd mic because my in-ears have holes in them. I can hear the crowd. So no, but I know that's an option. I know, my guy Tony from Ultimate Ears was talking about that. I'll do this for you. I'll show you this, how to do this. I'm like, I'm fine. I can still hear everything with the holes. Like, I'm good. Okay, where is that at? It should be under library. I think it's custom crate columns. Who knows if this is even going to work? Let's see here. Yeah. So I think it's just custom crate columns here. Make sure that's checked off too. So it'll remember how many holes do you have? Yeah. So it'll remember your settings. Try that first. Okay. Let's see here. DJ Funk Juice, thanks for hanging out today. I might have already missed you. All right, a couple more and then I'm definitely out of here. Because I need to go eat. Who has the best crates for R&B and hip hop? It says Beat Junkies and Heavy Hits. So, I like Beat Junkies. It has gotten better. But the question is, what type of R&B and hip hop? If we're looking for older music, then absolutely Beat Junkies is the best section, regardless. Hands down, best. Newer hip hop and R&B, it's just okay. It's just okay. But it depends on how deep you're trying to go in R&B. Honestly, just depends. Okay. Oh, Lopes, I remember that video too. I remember how it has like 1 million views and I didn't get $1 on it because I used Black Moon's who got the props in the video. So I haven't monetized that thing forever. Maybe it's changed now because of the new rules, but yeah, never got the money on that. Yes. Okay. I'm struggling with keeping up with the newer. I mean, look, we all are. We all are. That's part of the job of being a DJ is staying up with what the people are listening to. And I just got super high. And I don't think that it gets any easier. It gets harder, because we're no longer in that genre. So it is harder for us to really force ourselves upon it. Excuse me. But, it is what it is. I got to get a little lower. All right, there we go. How much do they cost? Yeah, most record pools are, around $30 a month. That's typical. Okay. TikTok has made it worse. I think TikTok has made it better. I think up until TikTok and Reels, there was a lot of music that was off limits. Keep in mind, I do a lot of bar and bat mitzvahs. So, there's a certain range of music that you kind of have to stay in because think about it this way. All of my kids are between 13 and 17. All right. All of my adults are between like 35 and 45. So I have a very small window for music. But thanks to TikTok, thanks to Reels and these kids finally listening to other music that's getting popular and remixes and all that, that's opened the door. That's opened the door for playing a lot of music. The attention span, they only know 15 seconds. So only play 15 seconds. This is our job, guys. This is our job. Our job is to understand trends, understand, the demographics, understand how people are reacting to music and adjust accordingly. That is number one, our job. I know it sucks. I know it's frustrating, but it's our job. So when I'm playing music and I'm playing, I use pretty much all TikTok songs as like bridges. I'll drop a TikTok song, let them sing the hook, let them sing the whatever, two not even verses, like 2 sentences of a song, and then I'm off to another one. They get their hype up, they get their screams up, and then I'm off to another song. That's our job. It is unfortunate, but it is our job. We have to just be vigilant. That's the only thing I can say. We have to be vigilant. There's no way around it. I'm trying to see. I haven't looked at the video yet. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate for the video. And the reason why I'm going to get hate for the video is not the video. It's because I know for a fact there are a lot of in music diehards, a lot of Rain diehards that are going to give me trash for what I'm talking about. I know that. It's the same people that when I review a Rain product and I speak highly of it, they're like, this was the best review you've ever done. The best review. Has nothing to do with the quality of my review. It's just because I've said something nice about your Rane product. Yes, same as virtual DJ. So I know I'm going to get some heat for it. That's okay. It adds to, the conversation. And that's what we're trying to do here, is build the conversation up. So if anybody, I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about, I'm not going to spend any time talking about the InMusic lawsuit. I have a full-on video that I released earlier this morning. Take a look. You can comment in there, and I will come in there and I will comment too. Let's see here. Facts. Just stream it, says DJ Kenny. So I have a question for DJ Kenny. This is honestly, it's okay. I'm just asking. How old are you? How old are you? Put that in the comments here. And thank you, Diamond Lee. Appreciate that. Good to see you here, man. Okay. While we're waiting for that answer, DJ Wolfer Cooker says, do you make a playlist for your gigs or do you freestyle? If you make a playlist, what is it based upon, BPM or key? I don't do anything in key. Now, that's not to say that I don't DJ in key. I don't care about key. Use my damn ears. See, again, I should have a little thing up top that says, I got like 3 hours of sleep. I'm going to be irritable. I'm a bitter old man today. Okay. But there's one thing I don't do. I do not mix in key. I do not care about it. If you are a musician, if you've done any type of production, if you just listen to music, you should be able to hear when a song is close enough. We didn't have in key when I was rocking vinyl. We don't need in key now. Does in key help? Absolutely. It's cool. It's a cool feature. But that's not running the way I DJ. I think stems is far more important to me to get songs in key than mixing in key will ever be, because I can take out the bass line and change the key or hide the fact that two songs are not in key. That's the most important part to me. So back to my playlist. So I don't typically do, don't get me wrong. I'll work on routines and I'll leave those routines in and keep them there. But for normal DJing, like for instance, yesterday, no, I have a playlist of music, and my crates go from, so every crate it's a bangers crate, right? So if I have an EDM crate, it's just hot EDM stuff, right? But along with my EDM crates, I still have my normal crates for like my open format. So say for instance, this is my Check 1 2 folder. Okay. Check 1 2 folder has everything. But as I travel down into it, I have my event music, and it might be the most important parts of the song, right? Not the song, of the client. Grand entrance song, first dance. If there's any dinner requests, I'll put that in there too. And then their main request. If there's something they've asked for, I will put that in a folder too. That way I know what I've played. The reason why these songs were actually, this is a reset. So that's why this isn't accurate, because I used it yesterday and I always reset my playlist. Then I have a folder that's just opening crate music, stuff that I know works for right in the beginning when people are walking in the room to get them to the dance floor. Split the crowd. That's how we start emceeing and working the crowd for the grand entrance. I got a horror folder. I have an adult pop crate. My adult pop crate is anything and everything that adults like, okay, that I know are going to work. So, this is all the stuff that adults will like, and it all works pretty much all the time. There's a couple of tracks I got to get here. Like I don't play Only Human for adults. But like all of these tracks, they work. They work. Then I have Kids Popular. Now the Kids Popular is where things get complicated. So, when I go over Kids Popular, I have a TikTok folder, of all the tracks that are most of the hot tracks that I know kids are going to want, or they're going to want me to play certain parts of it. And then I have a Ratchet Hip Hop. Ratchet Hip Hop is for them deep, SoundCloud bar mitzvah kids, right? So, You know, I got all this ratchet stuff that is in here, right? And basically all this is a sort, all right? Because I have what I call hype shit, and this is ratchet, this is clean, not clean, but this is ratchet, this is pop, this is everything that the kids, that the general population kids will want to hear. You know, Doja, you know, Ice Spice, Sicko Mode, you know, all these Rolex, all these songs, Mo Bamba, all these songs work, you know, every time. But if I'm playing something like, you know, Just Wanna Rock or Industry Baby and I'm getting no response, or they're like, oh, can you go harder? Then that's when I move over to my ratchet hip hop crate. All right. I got follow songs, Cupid Shuffle, all that bullshit. And then drop down, Israeli pop, all of my Israeli stuff that works, EDM dance. This is all the popular EDM music that, you know, I play for basically for my adults and everything else. Now, it does mix a little bit into my club stuff too, but in general, you know, this is all the stuff that I would kind of play. Now, this is one EDM dance crate. I have multiples because if I scroll down, and I still got to get all my Latin stuff because I have multiple Latin folders here, and I still have to compress that. But as I scroll down, and I do have a couple of, you know, smart crates, anything with acapellas, anything with instrumentals, I have crates for that. And I have a Puffy Biggie one. I had that during the pandemic. Okay. Let me go down to, these are all my routines. Like I said before, I got routines, and if anything is, you know, something that works for me, then if it's cool, I'll put those in my routines. Then the one thing I wish that Serato had was a way to search your folders, or at least put them in alphabetical order, because I need to get onto my club. See, there's my Latin again. This is the one I've actually finally started to work off of. I have a folder called Utopia. Utopia is obscure kind of Kaytranada style vibes and like international ballet funk, amapiano, you know, groove house, like all that stuff. You know, I have a folder just for that. Vlog playthroughs, all the stuff that I do here, stuff that I know is clean and I'm not going to get copyright struck for. Then I have something called Club. There it is. Okay. So, and in my club, I got Bollywood. I have my reggae broken out by dancehall, reggae, Afro beats, and then can break down to by specific things. Then I go to my club bangers, and this is my open format club folder, and I pretty much stay in this, you know, the whole time. Not this one right here, but this one right here. So, girl sing-alongs, stuff that girls love to sing along to, that you can just jump into and play some stuff. That is key. And then club bangers. This is stuff that I'll stay in this folder pretty much the entire night, as far as if I'm doing any type of nightclub. And then hip hop and trap. Where's my must play? Hip hop must plays. You know, and then this one I'll update as I go on, because sometimes you need to be prompted if you're forgetting. You're in a club, you're playing for 3 hours, you know, maybe you forget something, you can go in there real quick and then just get to it. So there you go. You can't put them in alphabetical order. Nigel, sorry. It is a Serato weakness. They're working on it. I don't have an ass folder, T Diesel, but I do have my folder's called Ladies Night, and those are all, again, more sing-alongs, more R&B based. That's my folder. I have a folder called Kaytranada Vibes. It's anything that sounds like Kaytranada goes in that folder. So it just depends. Everybody is going to make their crates for them, how it works for their minds. You know, I get into some other people's stuff and I look at the crates and I'm like, I have no idea how you operate this way. For me, it's most important to just have all the good stuff in a folder, and then I will adjust accordingly. You know, because I have found that in general, if you are going to be doing a nightclub or whatever you're going to be doing, and you set up a routine and it's 30 songs deep, in general, it's not going to work. Don't ask me why. It doesn't work. No matter how much you think, oh yeah, this is it right here, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Every time I've made a routine, I've bailed out of that routine after like 6 songs. Every time. Every time. I don't have a ton of folders, Nigel. I have folders because I do a lot of stuff, but it's not a ton. What you mean? Look, folders are there for a reason. They're there to they're there so you don't have to keep rethinking about things over time. Perfect example. So my Latin folder. The reason why I have another Latin folder is because when I'm playing, if something's going off and it's dope and everything, I will take that night and be like, okay, this was last week's Latin club. And then when I go back to the club, I'll start with that folder because I know all those songs work. And you might have multiple folders saying that. There's nothing wrong with that. They're folders for a reason. I'm not adding any space, into my hard drive. It's just a folder. It's a reference point. So create folders. Now don't have thousands of folders, which I don't have. And keep in mind, I do clean stuff. I do dirty stuff. I can't have my dirty stuff with my clean stuff. So I have to have 2 different folders, one for my clean and one for my dirty, but there's a lot of folders in here that I don't touch anymore, but I keep them because if I do, it's good to have them. You get what I'm saying? So, like perfect example, here's one. Electro swing, that's not something that I'm going to play for pretty much most of the time. But sometimes, if the party calls for it, and I actually had a party, they're like, oh, we're doing a 1920s kind of, clappers type of bar mitzvah, we want you to play some stuff for cocktail. So for cocktail, I hit this folder. It's okay. I don't have it. It's actually not as much as you think, but, cause you should have a folder for all of your different types of musical genres. You should have a folder for Latin. And Latin, it's not just Latin. You can't just have a Latin folder. Okay. You got to have, every version. You got to have bachata, you got to have salsa, you got to have merengue, you got to have punta. Like all those things are different. And in every crowd, it's different music. So if somebody asks for punta, you can't play some bullshit salsa. They're going to say, no, that's not what I want. I want punta. And you have to know the difference. So folders are important. Smart crates with the +4 plays as a backup spot to hunt for a track. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I never got into smart crates for the only reason was I've never had real time to like go through and clear out stuff and tag stuff. I've been tagging and everything and smart tagging and using like the Mixmaster stuff, and it's been doing great. But like still, I am not confident that everything that I have, when I search for it is going to come up the way it is. Anyway, that's just an opinion though. That's just the way it works. That was a small little short thing of how I work. But I mean, if you think I have a lot of crates, and keep in mind, I do a lot of events. And I do a lot of events, and they're not all the same. I'm a pure open format DJ. So I have to have all the stuff. And these people bringing 4 terabyte hard drive to the party. That's trash too. My hard drive of music is, and I consider it large, is that I think about 150 gigs. I want to get it down to about 75. Well, my company does over 400. How many do I personally do? I work every weekend. So, I mean, you do the math. What is that? 50? Is it 50? Is it 56 weekends? 52 weekends? 56? So, I mean, me personally, I'm probably doing 52. Yeah. So me personally, I'm probably doing on my own. I mean, Jesus, when you factor in the weekday ones and the school ones, I'm probably doing 75, and I work during the week. I do all my sales for my company. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I do YouTube. And, you know, the 400 parties that we do all run through me. So even though I'm not on that party, I got to make sure that all those things in that party are where they need to be. You know, so it's a lot of work. I'm working nonstop. That's why when people are like, "You're the hardest working man," I'm like, I work a lot. I work a lot. And which is why I keep losing my gym regimen, because I get into it and then parties start up and I'm like, I got to travel. I was traveling a lot throughout the summer. Didn't have a chance to really work out. So I need to get back to that. Okay. There was one thing somebody had said earlier. Did he ever answer how old he was? I know I asked him. Oh, DJ Kenny. Did DJ Kenny ever answer how old he was? I don't think he did. What are you embarrassed of? Oh, wait, hold on. 41. Okay. I was referring to if you need newer music. Why? Because when it comes to R&B, there's not a real good music pool. Or look, guys, I've said this before. Okay. I think we are struggling with reality sometimes. All right. Every music pool, every one of them, I think is around 20 to 30 bucks a month. Right. Okay. So if there isn't a good R&B pool, buy the damn music. Yes, streaming is an option. I'm not saying it's not an option, but if you want the music and you want it on your hard drive, buy the damn music. It's like $1 to $2 a song. So if you buy 15 to 20 R&B tracks, first off, 15 to 20 R&B tracks, you're pretty much done. You probably don't need any more than that, any of the newer stuff. So let's just say you do. And let's say you have a recurring purchase of like, I don't know, 5 R&B tracks a month. It's the same as if you were sticking with the record pool. It's the same. You're not losing any money because you have to buy them at all. You're not losing any money. You know, and also, I truly believe, because I do it myself, that record pools, we actually lose money on record pools. Now, again, if you're buying record pool music because it has in and outs, you know, and it has remixes and all those things, different story. But if you're only buying record pool, or if you're only in a record pool because of music and you don't care about that stuff, you're probably wasting your money. That's God's honest fact. You're probably wasting your money. You could probably buy the 5 to 10 songs that you're actually going to download and play on a party right off of iTunes and save some money, or wherever you're buying your music from. These are just facts. These are just numbers. But we are stuck on these pools like they're the end all, and we forget. Now, hopefully you're using your pools for other than just buying music. You know, maybe you're using it for their playlists, and you're paying for their expertise, and you know, again, their ins and outs and their special remixes. That's different. So I get it. But in general, especially with stems on right now, and the fact that I can just make my own intros now because of stems, I can just literally just mute out the vocals. It's changed the game. I don't really need, and I had kind of stopped, not all the time, but I kind of stopped using outros and intros, to be honest with you. Honestly, kind of stopped using it. A lot of songs you can just, you know, drop and it works just fine. It just depends, you know? So it honestly just depends. I think probably the more important thing now is just having an outro beat. I don't really care about the intro. Like Lean Back. That's a perfect example. How do you feel about intros? Because I'm finding I'm going back and downloading some of those tracks with epic intros. Well, okay, Lean Back is a perfect example. I don't personally believe that Lean Back needs an intro. It has one already. Bum, 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 bum. You drop that, the crowd knows exactly what song it is. Why do you need an intro beat on that? You know? Why do you need a intro beat on like, you know, hypnotize? You know, why do you need an intro beat on, you know, this is how we do it? You know, all of these things, these are songs that you just drop and it's absolutely fine. You don't need a beat. So I've stopped, especially for those types of songs, I've stopped downloading those versions. Stopped. I think it's pointless. You know, the only one that I keep is for whatever reason 50 Cent in the Club, because you know how the beat comes in delayed. It's bump 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 bump, you know, so if it's on the 1 2 3 4 1, it's after the 1. So I have an intro version of that one, so it just cleans it up. That's it. You know, but in general, a lot of things. And a lot of songs nowadays are making their own intros on them because they know DJs are using them. That's you know, it's just facts. A lot of this newer stuff has intros built in. You just don't need it. You know, and like, here's a perfect example. The Girl's a Liar. Okay. That's Ice Spice. If you're playing that track and the original starts off, take a look right there, right on the beat. Bam. Okay. So if you have an intro, it's just going to have the boom, 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 boom. Take a look. So why not, as the beat's playing, just drop the track. Jibber jibber, take a look right there. Done. Less work. Less opportunity to train wreck and have shoes in the dryer. Get it on the floor. Doesn't need an intro. Bring them out. Doesn't need an intro. You know, anyway, we could talk about this all day. The facts are, a lot of stuff you can just drop on the fly. That's it. You know, and be just fine. Okay. That's it for me, guys. It's 12:45. You know, it sucks. I'm exhausted and it's 12:45 and I should have been off an hour ago. But I can't leave you guys. But I'm leaving now. So, thanks for hanging out. Do not just get off this channel and, close the YouTube. First off, hit that like button. Let everybody know that it's dope here, so they should be coming back. Secondly, go to my last video. Watch the video I talked about the lawsuit. Share it. Get it out there. Let people know. You know, sharing is caring, and I appreciate it. So, thank you guys for all 133 of you. Seriously, how hard is it? The button's right there. It's right there, like right there. And also, if you're not a member, think about becoming a member. Think about supporting what I do here, because it is hard work, and you know, energy is not cheap now, and this office is putting a lot of energy out there. So you know, help out the cause. You're paying for my energy bill, and that's a God honest. That is that's serious talk there. That's real talk. You know, that's what you're helping with. All of this. So thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I will see you soon. Video today is already out, and then there will be another video hopefully on Friday. California energy is trash right now. It is so expensive to live in California. You have no idea. All right, y'all. We will see you soon. Enjoy your day. Peace out.